Hey, good morning, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. This morning, we're going to do something that I think we all need to do occasionally, and that's open a box of silliness. That's a phrase that I use with my daughter and my kids a lot of times whenever I want to kind of blanket a moment that doesn't really make any sense. As artists and illustrators and storytellers, we all need to go down different paths for success. However, there's always room for exploration and having fun. When I was a kid, I didn't really do a whole heck of a lot of drawing. I hear a lot of instances where artists will say, I've been drawing since I came out of the womb, and I had a pencil in my hand, and I've been creating ever since. I didn't have that luxury, per se. I grew up in rural Louisiana, and I had a great childhood. I'll be honest with you. I rode my bike all day. I built forts in the woods. I built tree houses. I played with my friends. I was outside for the majority of my childhood. I swam in creeks, rope swings. I was kind of like Huckleberry Finn, to be honest with you. And what that did was really expose me to a different, not even a different, at the time, this is the mid-'80s, early 80s and mid-'80s, to a slice of life that I think kids sorely miss these days. And that really gave me a visual library and moments in my life that I can draw upon to illustrate and draw stuff. Frank and Beans, the story that I'm working on about friendship between the alligator and the bear, really draws from my experiences in rural Louisiana. My original concept was to come up with something similar to the Peanuts gang and kind of tell the story of all the instances, where, we had a bottle rocket war, or we built forts, me and my friends. There's like a group of 10 of us, and it was just a really good time. But this morning, what we're going to do is just have fun. You guys know that I love having fun whenever I draw, and that's very important. But also, I love drawing with purpose. So this morning, we're just going to have a little bit of fun. I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys for visiting the channel. I have had a couple comments in reference to some of the videos that I've posted recently, about some of the people being inspired by what I do. That really touches my heart. Being on YouTube is kind of, it's an open door. It's an open door into an artist's life. You guys are seeing, not only stuff behind me, but facets of what I do on a daily basis. I enjoy YouTube, and I think that hopefully that you guys have enjoyed the videos, and if it inspires you to pick up a pencil, if it inspires you to start painting, creating, telling a story, delving into some of your dreams and some of your art dreams, then gosh, I'm very touched. So anyway, hope you guys liked the drawing this morning, and hopefully I'll get to a video this week. Just lots of busy. So anyway, thank you guys, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, so first thing we're going to do this morning is we're going to start out blocking in the shape of the character we're doing. You guys have watched me do this before. Any of you that are regulars. You guys know that I'm messy. I'm such a messy artist. I'm kind of jealous of people that, have the ability to, draw that one singular line that basically accomplishes what they're looking for as far as, having their form set in. Me, no, I don't do that. I'm just messy. I love, and one of the reasons why I draw like this is because I love the feel of the stroke of the utensil onto the paper. I watch lots and lots of drawings of people drawing, and you're always comparing yourself with them. I'm sure some of you guys are watching what I'm doing today, and are comparing yourself with me. And I do the same thing. And there's a lot of benefit to it, but also you need to understand that not everybody is at the level not only that you're at. Maybe there's a whole bunch of people that are inspiring to be artists, and you're inspiring them, and they're not quite at the level that you're at. And you kind of have to put things in terms that, if you're teaching, especially, that people can understand what you're doing. And whenever I teach, a lot of times, I get frustrated because I want to be able to just say, this, and this, and you get this, and here's the shape, and you can do it, and you can see it, and, just do it. And it's frustrating because a lot of times those people don't have the tools that you have, which are the experiences, some of those experiences that I was talking about earlier in, that I had in rural Louisiana, and being outside and seeing those things and enjoying those moments. A lot of people don't have that. And whenever you sit there and try to explain it to somebody, they're sitting there looking at you, and I've seen this 100 times, especially whenever I teach. They're looking at you, and they have no idea what you're talking about. It's like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. You need to somehow explain to me in such a way on terms that I understand. And that's part of teaching. I got frustrated early on in my teaching career because I only wanted students that had a base being, I already know what form is. I already know what composition is. I already know. So I don't have to sit there and explain all these things in such a way that you can understand, and you can understand, and you can understand. Because basically what I was doing is I kept whittling down this grand pot of information, and I kept whittling down, and I kept taking scoops out. Oh, you don't understand that part? And I would take those scoops out, and I'd be like, finally I get down to the most rudimentary way of explaining something. And then whenever I did that, then I had trouble explaining it because I couldn't relate to it. And I was like, dang it, man, how in the heck am I supposed to explain something when it's down to its base, when I can't even understand it? And it's very simple. and any of you guys or gals that have spouses, especially spouses that are teachers, this is what my spouse said to me. She said, honey, it is your responsibility as a teacher to find a way to reach these people. How can you reach these people? How? And that's one of the things that every single time I get frustrated. Every single time I deal with a child that maybe, or an older child that just can't get the concept that I'm trying to explain to them, because I deal with children not only in the traditional spectrum of learning, but also in the autistic spectrum. And whenever you deal with things in the autistic spectrum, you have to formulate some type of game plan to be able to teach and reach. Teach and reach. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to teach and I'm trying to reach. Because a lot of times, whenever you explain something to one child in a traditional spectrum, then, whenever you try to teach it in an autistic spectrum, it's completely lost. And then again, sometimes, it completely surprises you. So I started looking at things in such a way that removed that, I don't want to say sense of superiority, because it's not a sense of superiority. It is a sense of of enthusiasm that you're trying to pass on this grand amount of information that you understand, but you have to formulate it in such a way. So I started looking at things different. How do you look things different? Well, I started breaking things down into shapes. Excuse me. I broke things down into shapes. I broke things down into movement. I started thinking in terms of, how they could understand
And I would say, if we were talking about a story project, I would say, have you ever read a book before? Well, yes, Mr. Mike, I have. I said, okay. So a book has, it's kind of like it's kind of like going up the stairs. Going up the stairs. Okay, I said, have you ever been upstairs? Going upstairs. I said, yes, Mr. Mike, I have. Okay, so if you go upstairs, do you do all the stairs at once? And they had stopped to think for a minute because it was a question. And they said, no. I said, absolutely not. I said, in stories have steps. Steps that help build your story staircase. I said, how are you going to build your story staircase? Because you have a step one. That is the introduction. That's how you learn about the characters. That's where you learn where the characters live. That's when you learn when the characters live. Then you start going to your next steps. What are your characters' names? And you could see lights coming on, and which is always an incredible moment in a teacher's life when you start seeing those fruits start budding on that tree of learning. And I am not a traditionally trained teacher. I don't have a degree in education. I have a bachelor's degree in fine art, illustration with a focus on illustration. But that being said, I have practical world experience in storytelling, in illustration creation, in graphic design, all of these things. So what that gave me is a practical basket of learning tools to give to these people. And what I've noticed is whenever you break it down in such a way that they can understand it, then all those barriers of self, especially in art, those self-deprecating moments when they say that I can't do something, then they suddenly realize that art is a can. You can do these things. So what I'm going to do here, because this particular drawing is not supposed to be 10 hours worth of illustration work, I'm going to put you on time lapse. I'm going to finish the overall inking of this piece, and I'm not going to drag it into digital illustration because I've got a ton of work today. But I just want you to know that in the midst of your process, you need to realize that your stage of learning is your stage. It's not going to be the same as somebody sitting next to you. If your friend, let's say you're in college or school or high school or whatever, if your friend is getting something or in a level that you desire, what I like to do, and I tell students this too, especially whenever it comes to the elderly, you need to, and it sounds terrible, you need to squeeze that brain. Squeeze that brain. Okay, how do you squeeze the brain, Mike? You need to ask questions. How did they get to that level? I always tell, people in general and kids, I said the elderly and older people have that knowledge. They want to give it to you. They want to pass it on. I think that you should examine, if you want something in a career-wise, go to the people that have been there. That's why you guys are here, because I've done quite a lot, and I'm passing on some of this knowledge to you. Squeeze those brains. Squeeze those brains around you. Ask the questions. Collect the information. Don't belittle anybody. Don't ever look at yourself and think you're mightier than thou. Don't ever look at your situation. If you've been in a studio job for 25 years, don't go into another position and say, hey, I know a billion times more than you do. At the end of the day, even if you do, you don't know everything. And even to have that humble heart and to benefit just a little bit is going to benefit you and help somebody in return. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and put you on time lapse. And this is just silliness. This is a pig with like an Elvis curl, kind of a bore. So very messy. You see all the lines. I'm going to come back. I'm going to really tighten things up quite a bit. And hopefully you guys enjoy. And we'll see you on the next drawing. Thanks, guys. Bye. that's the end. Not too much into this one. Roughly, I don't know, 25 or so minutes. Anyway, thank you guys for visiting, liking, and subscribing if you like what you see, and share if you know anybody that would benefit from the videos. I'm going to try to do another video before the end of the week, maybe a digital illustration. Been working on some other stuff that hopefully get to you guys soon. But stay tuned. Lots of videos coming. We'll see you next time. Bye.